Hello, darlings. You're welcome to Z-Star Africa, your home of sizzling drama recaps. Let's dive deep into the unsolved mysteries, Mission Impossibles, and heartbreaks in Lost in Love's upcoming episodes. A story that takes love and betrayal to the edge of the impossible. From Savi giving her all, believing she's finally reached the end of her struggles, to the shocking moment she realizes it's not the end, but the dead end. As Rajat's truth shatters everything she ever believed in, to Neil going against everyone for Savi. This drama comes intensified. Please like and turn on your notifications for more of your favorites. It only gets more interesting. Let's dive in. It all begins with Bagiasri furiously questioning Savi over the phone about why she went to Switzerland. Sai steps in, defending Savi, saying she's there to look after both Bagiasri and Kian. Savi praises Sai for being strong and calls her the best daughter. But Bagiasri's heart is filled with pain. She snaps and calls Savi the worst mother before cutting the call. Savi feels guilty and silently apologizes, saying she can't reveal the truth, that she's actually there to save Rithi. Neil overhears and asks who Rithi is, but Savi shuts him down, reminding him they've chosen separate paths. Neil then points out that the rubies she's holding aren't just Rajat's, they're tied to Teju's murder too. When they check the rubies they recovered, they realize they're fake. Panic fills Savi as she wonders how she'll save Rithi now. Neil presses her for answers, and Savi lies that her husband had debts she needed to clear. Later, they find Rajat's diary, and Savi recognizes his handwriting. What she reads leaves her stunned. Evidence showing Rajat was laundering money through rubies in Switzerland. Neil insists it's the truth, but Savi refuses to believe it, torn between love and disbelief. Back in her apartment, Savi drops a photo of her and Rajat, her heart breaking as she questions how he could be involved in something illegal. Through the window, she spots Neil lighting a bonfire and rushes out to stop him. Neil refuses to leave, saying he'll keep watch over her. Savi tells him she can take care of herself and leaves from there. The cops come to Neil and tell him he isn't allowed to start a fire there. They ask him to come with them. Savi recalls how Neil helped her from the cops. She comes to Neil, and the officers mistake them for a honeymoon couple. The Indian cop asks Neil if they've gotten into a fight. Neil says yes, and makes a light comment about it. The cops ask Savi to forgive Neil. Savi takes Neil and leaves from there. Neil asks Savi why she saved him. Savi replies that if he's caught, she'll also be caught for trespassing, and no one will come to bail them out. Later, as they sit together, the truth begins to sink in. Neil speaks again of Rajat's crimes, and Savi's heart crumbles. She realizes Bagiasri might have been right all along. She never truly knew Rajat, and perhaps, in some way, she's responsible for his death. Savi breaks down, telling Neil that her mother-in-law was right. Rajat is gone because of her. Neil gently takes her hand to comfort her, assuring her it's not her fault. He tells her he understands her pain because, just like her, he's also living with guilt. She for not knowing the truth, and he for knowing it but still failing to save Teju. Just then the power goes out. As Neil looks for matchsticks, Savi's phone beeps. It's a message from Sai, and she smiles through her tears. When the lights come back on, Neil teases her, saying her smile must have brought the power back. Savi replies softly that it's a message from her daughter, then tells Neil to sleep in the hall while she goes to her room. Later that night, Neil can't stop thinking. He wonders why ACP Nitin Manjakar never told him about Savi's trip to Switzerland and starts questioning if he can still trust him. Something about Savi's fear and innocence makes Neil believe she doesn't know the full truth about Rajat's crimes. Meanwhile, Maruti informs Srichan that Neil is in Switzerland and staying in the same apartment as Savi. Srichan, furious, orders Maruti to keep an eye on both of them and warns that the doctor must not interfere in their business. He threatens, "Do whatever you must, we can't risk our operation." Maruti assures him he'll handle it, vowing to silence Savi if needed. That night, Maruti calls Savi, ordering her to sleep early because she must help him with a bank job in the morning before meeting Rithi at Nagpur airport. Savi pleads with him not to hurt Rithi. Neil, who walks in looking for a charger, overhears the name and questions her, but Savi brushes him off, asking him not to interfere. Neil grows suspicious and secretly calls Yash, asking him to dig up information about Rithi, who he believes is related to Savi. When Yash asks if he's in Switzerland with her, Neil avoids the question and ends the call. By morning, Savi quietly packs her bag, leaves a note for Neil, and goes with Maruti to the bank. The transaction goes smoothly, and Maruti congratulates her, saying she's now part of Rajat's old money laundering network. Disgusted, Savi demands to know where Rithi is. Maruti replies coldly that she'll find her at Nagpur airport. Back at the apartment, Neil wakes up, sees Savi's note, and immediately calls her, but she doesn't answer. Around the same time, Yash informs Neil that Rithi never boarded her flight to the USA for her studies. Neil realizes Rithi has been abducted. Savi, meanwhile, starts to wonder if Rajat too was forced into all of this just like her. Neil tries calling again, but she ends the call. When Savi arrives in Nagpur, she can't find Rithi anywhere. She frantically calls Maruti, demanding answers. Maruti reminds her that she's only transferred 25 Indian rupees crores so far and still owes 100 Indian rupees crores. Savi refuses to continue, saying she won't be part of this dirty business anymore. But Maruti threatens her coldly. If you want Rithi alive, bring me that necklace, or prepare to receive her dead body. Terrified, Savi breaks down and agrees. At the same time, Srichan beats up Nitin for letting Neil follow Savi to Switzerland, warning him that if Neil's involvement ruins their operations, he'll pay dearly. Back in Nagpur, Neil finally confronts Savi, revealing that he knows about Rithi's kidnapping. Shocked, Savi demands to know how he found out. Neil shows her his special officer ID and admits that Nitin had asked him to team up with her to secretly keep an eye on her. Hurt and betrayed, Savi lashes out at him. Neil begs her to trust him, explaining that even Nitin didn't tell him about her Switzerland trip. He discovered everything himself. He urges Savi to involve the police to rescue Rithi. But Savi immediately grows defensive and asks if he has told anyone about her. Neil assures her he hasn't and pleads for her trust. Savi refuses, saying she can't trust a man who hides the truth. Neil admits he only kept secrets to uncover Tej's killer, but Savi is too hurt to listen. She tells him she'll protect her family herself and storms off. Meanwhile, Tara adds more fuel to the fire, reminding Bhagyasri of their plan before Savi's arrival. When Savi finally reaches home, Bhagyasri stops her at the door, coldly declaring that she's not allowed to meet the children. Savi begs her, reminding her that she's Sai and Kion's mother. Tara mocks her for leaving them to go to Switzerland, and though Savi explains she had no choice, her words fall on deaf ears. Bhagyasri, standing firm, says she's their grandmother and has every right to keep them away. Then Tara cruelly shuts the door in Savi's face as Savi breaks down, pleading that she can't live without her children. Elsewhere, Neil faces questions from the Pradhan family for traveling to Switzerland without telling anyone. Instead of answering, he turns the tables on Lena, warning her not to visit Bhagyasri's house again to ask questions about him. As Neil walks away, Lena realizes the truth. Neil and Savi had been in Switzerland together. Back at Bhagyasri's house, Kion cries endlessly, calling for his mother. Tara and Bhagyasri try to calm him, but nothing works. When Aniket begs Bhagyasri to let Savi see her children, Tara jumps in, saying Savi lost that right when she abandoned them. Aniket argues that Sai and Kion still need their mother, but Tara arrogantly declares that she will raise them herself. As Kion continues to cry, Sai softly says that he misses his mother. Only Savi can calm him. Just then, Savi starts banging on the door, calling out for her son. Sai tries to open it, but Tara stops her. Ignoring her, Savi begins singing a lullaby from outside, and miraculously, Kion stops crying. Bhagyasri, seeing this, asks Tara to take him inside and eventually opens the door. Savi falls at her feet, begging again not to be separated from her children. Moved but stern, Bhagyasri gives her one last warning. If Savi ever makes another mistake concerning Sai or Kian, she will never see them again. Savi tearfully agrees. Finally, Savi takes Kian from Tara's arms and holds him close, soothing him with love. Tara sneers, calling her an unfit mother. Elsewhere, Rithi prays in fear, begging in her heart for Savi to come and rescue her. One of the goons tries to force her to eat, but Rithi glares at him and warns him to stay away. Back home, Bhagyasri complains of a headache. Out of love and concern, Savi gently offers to massage her head. Bhagyasri eventually relaxes and falls asleep. But just as peace returns, chaos breaks out outside. A group of Thakur family employees have gathered to protest, demanding their unpaid salaries. Their anger grows, and they begin throwing stones at the house. Meanwhile, Rithi takes her chance. She fights back against the goon, hits him, and manages to escape. Savi rushes outside, pleading with the workers to stop. With tears in her eyes, she explains that the company is facing hard times and begs them not to bring their fight to the family home. One of the women steps forward, crying that her father-in-law's hospital treatment was stopped because she hasn't been paid. Deeply moved, Savi hurries inside and searches for money. Seeing this, little Sai breaks his piggy bank and offers his savings to help. Savi smiles through her pain and tells him she'll handle it. She removes her jewelry and hands it to the woman, asking her to use it for now. Tara mocks Savi for her sacrifice, but Savi stands strong, refusing to back down. At the same time, Rithi escapes and manages to call Savi. Her voice trembles as she begs for help. Savi asks her to describe where she is. Rithi overhears some tempo drivers talking about heading to Badi Ma temple by morning and quickly tells Savi before ending the call. She hides in one of the tempos and throws her phone away before it drives off. Elsewhere, ACP Nitin Manjakar confronts Neil about his trip to Switzerland. Neil is surprised and asks how he found out. Manjakar coldly says they have eyes everywhere and accuses him of getting too close to Savi. Neil, angered, reminds him he's not a servant. When Manjakar insists he still works under their authority, Neil takes off his ID card and says firmly, "You wanted me on this case, but you're not my boss. I don't take orders." Then he walks away. Later, Neil enters Savi's cabin and sees her dusty nameplate. He quietly wipes it clean, places it back in position, and stares at it for a long moment. "She doesn't want to talk to me," he murmurs. "But why can't I stop thinking about her?" Then he leaves, lost in thought. Back at home, Savi tells Bhagyasri she's heading to the temple to pray for the family's well-being. Though deep down, she's really going to save Rithi. Tara mocks her for always going out, but Savi replies with calm determination that everything she's doing is for the family. Meanwhile, Neil, still worried, keeps calling Savi, but she doesn't answer. When he finally spots her at the station, he rushes over and offers his help. Savi refuses, saying she'll handle things on her own, and walks away. Neil watches her go, silently vowing to protect her no matter what. Later, Marty calls Savi and taunts her, telling her that he has Rithi and she can't save her. He warns that Rithi will be punished for her mistake trying to escape. Savi pleads with him not to harm her, explaining that Rithi only ran because Marty's men tried to misbehave with her. Shocked by the truth, Marty ends the call in anger. At home, Savi lovingly feeds Sai. When Sai sadly asks if she's a bad girl because Rithi hasn't called from the USA, Savi comforts her, saying Rithi still loves her deeply. Bhagyasri remarks that Rithi seems to care only about Savi, while Tara mocks that Savi may not even attend Sai's school sports day. Savi firmly says she will always stand by her daughter, no matter what. Elsewhere, Marty confronts Rithi for escaping. Rithi snaps back, saying he has no right to question her since he kidnapped her. When Marty notices her wounds and learns Nagraj tried to harass her, he becomes furious and vows to punish Nagraj. Brutally, he beats Nagraj until he passes out. Later, he apologizes to Rithi, promising she will not be hurt again. He admits they only kidnapped her to force Savi's cooperation, showing rare remorse. That's a wrap, fam. Thank you for supporting Z Star Africa. Much love.